Hello, everybody in YouTube land. This is Brandon, also known as Super Fanboy Guy. And if you're watching this video, you'll know that you are looking at some kind of versus system deck. Well, funny you happen to stumble on this video because this is going to be episode 9 of the Playground series. Now, for some of you that don't know, the Playground series is some kind of thing I just do on YouTube to show people versus system decks. I usually play them. And I also show like the deck and the cards and what they do. So I guess the better way to say that is I do a deck breakdown of the cards and then I play test it on Octagon. So I wanted to do something a little bit different in this episode, as you probably have seen from the title. The theme or the deck that we're going to be talking about today is going to be the Marvel Defenders deck. Before I get into the deck, just kind of like a quick side note here. This is what's called a bring your own set deck. Pretty much all the cards from bring your own set come from, a specific set. So for an example, if you have a deck with just Marvel Origins cards, that's a Marvel Origins bring your own set. Marvel Origins, of course, being the first set that was printed. You can only use cards from that set and nothing else. So this one is going to be all cards from the Marvel Team Up set. So the Defenders is actually one of the first decks that I made from Marvel Team Up, because I remember that set when it came out. It was one of those sets that made me start to play Versus a little bit more seriously. It's really the set that got me hooked on the game. I was kind of hooked in the beginning with the earlier sets, but this was the set that really, brought this game to light for me, and it just became this whole phenomena for me. Mainly because a lot of the Spider Friends cards came in that set, so like ESU, the Sensational Spider-Man, Aunt May, Golden Oldie. And actually, before I made that Spider-Man deck, I actually made this Marvel Defenders deck, so that's why I'm kind of showing it today, because it's very nostalgic for me, and it's a fun deck to play. It's not a competitive deck. So just to kind of give everybody that little brief history that I have. But okay, so going into the deck, I'm just going to point out the first thing is that we have only 3 cost and 4 cost plot twist, because this was a homebrew that I made. I didn't net deck it. It was one of the, I don't know if it was the first homebrew versus system deck I ever made, but it was like at least the second or third, something like that. But so yeah, this is the deck. And so what Marvel Defenders do is just like the name, they defend. They don't do any big attacks for the most part. Well, at least the build of this deck is. It goes more on the defensive kind of strategy. And the thing that not all of them, but most of them have is this ability called Backup. Now, Backup is a ability that can only be used during the build phase. So remember that you can use it during your build phase or your opponent's build phase. But we have like certain effects that, will make them exhausted so that they can get kind of bonuses and a little bit of powerful effects for that backup ability. So I know I pointed on this Hawkeye, but we'll come right back to him. So I'm just going to go down the order really quick. So for the characters, we have our 1 cost, which is Wong, Mystical Manservant. He enters play exhausted, and his backup ability is activate, return him to your hand, and you get to search for a Marvel Defenders character and put it into your hand. And since it is backup, you can only use it during the build phase. So he's definitely one of the searchers for the deck. You can search for your characters, and one nice thing about him too, he's kind of like a Alfred Pennyworth effect. So he comes to play exhausted and you get to return him and search for a card. It's very similar to that. And what's really cool with Wong, since he's turn 1, if you don't have a turn 2 play, on turn 2, you can always, return them to your hand, search for the character card, and then if you don't have a 2, you just put them in the play exhausted. So that's kind of like a neat little trick that you can do, so you can definitely get some more value with him. So we're going to go to our 2 cost characters, and we have this Red Guardian. I'm not going to try to pronounce her first name because I'll probably botch it. She has substitute, backup, activate. Target character you control gets +4 attack this turn and has range this turn. And so also substitute is an ability that if you control a ready character that's the same or greater cost, you can remove that character from play and put the character with substitute into play. So I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So moving on to our next character, our next 2 costs is going to be 3 copies of John Walker, U.S. Agent. You may have known him from the Falcon Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. So yes, this is his comic book form. And what he does, he also has substitute, backup, activate, target defender you control gets reinforcement this turn, which is getting reinforcement is also kind of not bad to have, kind of helps you soak up some damage if necessary. Okay, so our 3 cost characters, we're going to play 3 copies of Hellcat Patsy Walker, who was featured on the Jessica Jones Netflix show. And she has backup, activate, target character you control gets +2/+2 this turn. And another, you can see kind of the defensive strategy that you want to use it there. There is a way you can use this offensively too if you want to attack and do that kind of stuff as well. Okay, our next 3 cost character, we're going to play 3 copies of Hawkeye Loudmouth. He also has substitute, backup, activate, discard a character card that shares an affiliation with Hawkeye. Stun any number of target characters with a combined cost 2 or less, use only during the build phase. So really good for taking out those kind of like shield agent army cards or any other type of army cards. So it could be a good value for him, but you do have to use it during the build phase, which is, the typical backup effect. But okay, next is our 4 cost characters. We play 2 copies of Samantha Parrington, Valkyrie, Chooser of the Slain. Another character with substitute and backup. Activate when target character you control next attacks this turn. Ready it. Use only during the build phase. So one kind of cool thing is with substitute, you can have. Actually, you know what? Let me talk the combo about her after I go through the rest of the deck. So anyway, okay, so now we have 4 copies of Richard Rider Nova. He also has substitute, backup, activate, stun target character at the start of the recovery phase this turn. Use only during the build phase, which all the backup cards always say use during the build phase, which I always thought was interesting. But even if you don't want to activate his ability, a 7/7 on turn 4 is not bad with flight and range. So his activating his effect on concealed cards is really good because then they'll just get stunned when you can't hit them. All right, moving on to our 5 cost characters. We have this Valkyrie, Barbara Norris, Brunnhilde, I think is how you pronounce it. She also has substitute. Other characters you control have reinforcement while exhausted. Brunnhilde has invulnerability while other characters you control are exhausted. So kind of another way to protect our characters when they're exhausted by giving them reinforcement. And also her getting invulnerability when all the other characters are exhausted is also good. So next we have 3 copies of Doctor Strange, Founding Father. When he enters play, you get to ready a Marvel Defenders attack character you control. So a combo with this ability, when you play him, his ability comes on the chain. Then for an example, if you have like Hellcat, you can activate her, give +2/+2 to Doctor Strange, let his effect resolve, and then ready Hellcat, activate her again for another +2/+2 for a total of +4/+4. So you have a potential 13/12 on turn 5, which is pretty sweet. Okay, so we're going to move to the 6 cost characters, starting with 2 copies of Wendell, Vaughn, Quasar. He has substitute, backup, activate, target character you control gets +4/+4 while attacking this turn. Use it only during the build phase. And he has flight and range if you need to attack support row characters for whatever reason. Next, we have 3 copies of Submariner, Neptune's Fist. He has substitute. Submariner gets +1/+1 for each exhausted Marvel Defenders character you control. So it could be very powerful if you have enough exhausted characters out in the field. Okay, so that next we come to our 7 cost character, and that is 2 copies of Hulk, Strongest One There Is. So he is definitely the finisher of the deck. He's kind of the reason why, this whole time while you exhaust your characters during the game is to play this powerhouse of a card. So anyway, he is a 17/17 with substitute. When Hulk enters play, exhaust all other characters you control. Discard a Marvel Defenders character card, Ready Hulk. Use only once per turn. So obviously, when you play him, you could put his trigger on the chain. So if you have any other characters out on the field, you can respawn by activating their effects. And so the combo that I was going to talk about is with Valkyrie is if you have her and Hulk out in the same on the field, you play Hulk, his ability triggers, you could activate her to make sure that he gets another attack in for the turn. And then you can also discard that Marvel Defenders character card to have him, ready again and attacks, another card. Now, a lot of people don't know this combo, but there is a Fing Fang Foom card that I'll put a picture in right here in the video to show everybody what he does. But he has you could play him on turn 4, but you have to KO him afterwards. But the combo is you play him, that Fing Fang Foom on turn 4, and then you substitute for this Hulk. So you potentially have your turn 4 Hulk. That's a 7-cost character. And I actually am wondering how well that deck. There is a deck that somebody made that went with that Fing Fang Foom, the 7-drop Hulk strategy. But I'm actually wondering how good that deck would do against the 7-drop Deadpool deck. And I don't know if that's been a thing before or not. But I like to actually maybe make those decks and play against somebody and see how that goes. But okay, anyway, I digress. And our last character is Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. He has flight and range with substitute. When Doctor Strange enters play, ready all Marvel Defenders characters you control. So you get to activate all their backup effects, and when he comes into play, you get to ready all the characters. So I typically don't play him a whole lot when I play this because I usually win by turn 7 with the Hulk card. But you got to put an 8-drop in the deck, and I felt like why not just play him? So that's it for the character cards. Let's go ahead and go into the plot twist cards. So we have 3 copies of the order. The play only if all characters you control have the Marvel's Defenders team affiliation. Discard a card if you do. Ready any number of target backup characters you control, and those characters can attack. So obviously, it's a way you can activate all of your backup effects twice, potentially. So that's 3 copies of that, like I said. Okay, so the B team, this is like the plot twist search card of the deck. And what you do with this is to play, discard a backup Marvel Defenders card. Search your deck for an affiliated character card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Now, it just says you discard a Marvel Defenders backup, and you get to put any affiliated character. So this is definitely one of the most, I think, underrated search cards because it's really good because you can just get any affiliated card. So I think a lot of people, I don't know how many people use this in their decks that's like not a Marvel Defenders kind of deck, but it's still a sweet card. So next we have 4 copies of Defenders Defend. Target exhausted Marvel Defenders attacker or defender you control gets +3 defense this attack. So it's just it beefs up the defense, a little bit. And speaking of beefing up the defense, I'm just going to skip Imperius Rex for a second and talk about against all odds. If all characters you control share at least 1 affiliation, target attacker or defender you control gets -3 +3 this attack. So it's kind of like a acrobatic dodge, except that you can use it for the attacker, because if I remember correctly, acrobatic dodge is only for the defender. So next, let's go ahead and talk about Imperius Rex. Target Marvel Defenders attacker you control gets +4 attack. This attack exhausts all other characters you control. So you pretty much you have 1 attacker because all of your other characters are going to be exhausted by you using the backup effects. So yeah, it's just a big kind of big attack card in case you need that extra oomph. And also, I did forget to mention, so when I made this deck, I decided to make it kind of budget friendly because obviously I didn't have any Savage Beatdowns available to me for this deck, or Mobilizes, or any of those other cards. So I kind of just made, I remember buying boxes of Marvel Team Up, and I just kind of made the deck that, whatever cards I had available. So that's why if some of these cards are like, oh, why are you putting that in your deck? Now you know why. But okay, so next we're going to talk about One-Man Rampage. You may discard a Marvel Defenders character card. If you do, ready target attacker you control and exhaust all other characters you control. The attacker cannot cause breakthrough this turn. So if we go back to that strategy of this 7-drop Hulk with this Valkyrie, so he comes to play, with the trigger on the chain, you activate Valkyrie, so he, gets to attack again. He attacks, and then you get to ready him again. You get to attack again, and maybe use his discard effect to ready him. He gets to attack again. You now can play the one-man Rampage to ready him again. But when he attacks for that additional time after you activate this, it can't cause breakthrough. But it's just another way. This is just a good way to wipe out your opponent's characters and deal more damage to them. And then the last card of the deck is definitely something that, if you wanted to take out a card to improve this deck, this is probably the one to do, because it's not really a great card. But you get to move any. It's a Astral production. You get to move any number of Marvel Defenders characters you control to your hidden area. If you control Doctor Strange, draw a card. So it is not the greatest card, but I mean, you can move all your characters to the hidden area so that you can do backup effects and not worry about your characters getting hit. So, okay, so before I go and play test the deck, there is just something, since we went over all the cards, that I just wanted to share with everybody. So let's say, for an example, Doctor Strange, you have him in play, and, you have him in play for one turn, and let's say you go to turn 6, and you play, let's say, the Submariner, and let's say that you decide you substitute him out for Valkyrie, right? So when you do that, then you can just, get rid of Doctor Strange and play a Valkyrie. So you can have, maybe on turn 6, if you have Submariner out, he can attack twice. And also, a good time to substitute him out is if you go to turn 8 to play this Doctor Strange. If you already have this 5-drop Doctor Strange out on the field, you can substitute with either for like Valkyrie or Nova or any of these other substitute cards. So that way, when you play the 8-drop, you won't get the KO the 5-drop. I hope that makes sense. So I think that's... there's also one more strategy I wanted to talk about. So on turn 7, when you play the Hulk, let's say you have Submariner out on turn 6. Before you play the Hulk, if you happen to get Quasar into your hand, you can actually substitute out the Submariner so that when you play the Hulk and his effect triggers, you can activate Quasar to give Hulk +4/+4 when he attacks. And that way you're not just left with an exhausted character, so you can kind of use some of your resources a little bit better. So that's also another thing I just wanted to mention quickly. But okay, so yeah, that's the deck profile portion of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and play test the deck for you to show you some of the strategies that we can do with it. And also, I will mention that with this deck, and I think it's pretty obvious that you want to have the odd initiative so you can attack with the 7-drop Hulk. So this is a deck that I feel will be better played on the odd initiative. So when we get into the playtest portion of this video, then I'm just gonna go ahead and just take the odd initiative. So I just wanted to show that. But okay, so let's go ahead and playtest this bad boy. All right. So we got the deck up. Let's give it a couple of shuffles here. And that same glitch that happened on the last video. I don't know why that happened, but okay. Anyway, so let's go ahead and draw our 4 cards. 1. Oh, so I always keep forgetting to do this, but you got to show the hand this way. And I don't know why they always do it that way. But anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4. All plot twist. Okay, I guess that's a mulligan. Yeah, we got a mulligan because we need characters. Okay, this is not bad. I like it. It's a little awkward to have, maybe it's not awkward. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to take the odd initiative. So just to show everybody how it works better on the odd initiative. So, okay, let's go draw our 2 cards. Okay, we need some more plot twist here. So I'm going to actually put this, our only plot twist, and we're going to play Wong, which he comes to play exhausted. Our opponents take their turn 1, they do their stuff, and then we're going to go ahead and ready. So he gets ready, and then we draw our 2 new cards. 1, 2. Okay. So let's say our opponent takes their turn, they play their resource, and they play their characters, and we're going to take our turn and put this down. Now, this is really interesting because we have one or two options here. We could bounce Wong, search for a card, and then play our 2-drop Red Guardian. Or what I could also do is I could bounce back Wong, search for the card, the Marvel Defenders card, and then we could replay Wong again. But it also depends on what I guess our opponent has. Like if our opponent has a 2-cost character, it might be better to play the Red Guardian to kind of prevent them from doing things. And actually, I don't think that's a bad play. So, okay, let's go ahead and bounce Wong back to our hand. And we have what do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5. And I guess we'll get a 6-cost character. So the question is, do we want Submariner or do we want Quasar? And we do, let me put this over here, and I think we have the B team. So we could, I think we're going to curve out, which means we're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns. Like, we're going to hit a character every turn. So that's pretty good. So, I definitely want to get one of my 6-drops here, I think, because we don't have it. And then we could use the B team later to search for Hulk. But yeah, let's just take Submariner and then go ahead and close and shuffle. And then we're going to play Red Guardian. And what I would do is I would definitely back her up, give her the +4 attack so she's a 5/4. So that way if they try to attack, we could stun them back. Or maybe they can't even attack her. It all depends. So, okay, so let's just go ahead and take the next turn. So we'll ready her. Our opponent readies their characters and all their cards. So we'll go ahead and draw 2 new cards. All right. Now, obviously, if they are playing some kind of like an army deck, we would want to play Hawkeye right now. I think there is one character in this deck that has reservists, if I remember correctly. But actually, there may not be any reservist characters. So let's go ahead and we're going to have to, unfortunately, put a character in our resource row. I think it'll be Wong. Yeah, putting him in our resource row there's nothing wrong with that. I know I'm terrible. Okay, so anyway, so the question is, do we want to play Hawkeye or do we want to play Hellcat? If I had to choose, I definitely would choose Hellcat over anything. And it's kind of cool that she is concealed. And also, as a note, she does not have substitute, so keep that in mind. You can substitute out to play Hawkeye, but you can't do it the other way around. So. But, okay, so we play our turn 3. They take their turn 3, and they maybe play some characters. And depending on what they do, I definitely think activating her to give her the +2/+2 is good. And then we can activate her to give her that +4 attack. Another thing that we could do instead of activating these effects, we could ready them. And if they have like a 1/1, we can attack there and attack to another character, but that also may be a greedy play since we don't really have anything going on right now. So this is probably the best play that we could do. Plus, if they have enough to stun Red Guardian, then at least we're not losing a character. We're probably taking a little bit of a hit this turn, but it's not detrimental. But okay, so let's go ahead and go to turn 4. Hopefully we draw a plot twist. So let's go ahead and draw 1 and 2. Okay. We did get a plot twist. So they take their turn 4. They play their things. And then we're going to go ahead and play a card into our resource row. So as you can see, we have 2 4-drops. We have Valkyrie and we have Nova. So typically what I do with this deck, if I have Nova, I typically play Nova first because remember, you can always substitute Nova out for Valkyrie later in the game. Now, also, depending on what other characters we have, another move that we could do is if we were attacking, we could play Valkyrie to try to do some attacks and things like that. But since we don't have the initiative, let's just go ahead and play Richard Rider Nova. And I would form like this. And before we go into combat, we probably would back up these effects. So I would give the +2/+2 to Nova, and then maybe the +4 attack. And then and you could also give the +4 attack to to Red Guardian. It all depends if they played their 4-cost character this turn, or depending on what their board is like. But I would definitely also back up to maybe hit a character in the hidden area. So yeah, you could do something like that maybe, and then, you know, let's say they do stun Red Guardian and Nova. So we would obviously lose Red. We could lose Red Guardian, you know, because of that. But let's just say also that maybe they just hit Nova and he just got stunned, so we recover, and we'll go to the next turn. But yeah, it all depends on what they have, I guess. But okay, so turn 5 is going to be our initiative. So, oh man, so this is the problem with this deck is we don't play enough plot twists, so we end up having to maybe burn some of our character cards. But I guess that's just the way things are. So okay, let's go ahead and just put this Wong here because there's nothing wrong with that. Play. Okay, so now we have the choice to play either Doctor Strange or this Brunnhilde Valkyrie. I guess there is 2 different Valkyries now that I mentioned it. So since we're gonna be on the attack, so Doctor Strange might be doing some work also, and we haven't used any of our plot twists yet. So I think I am gonna play the Doctor Strange, and then his abilities with his ability on the chain, I can activate Hellcat to give Doctor Strange +2/+2, and then I can ready her and give another +2/+2 to Doctor Strange, and then I haven't used the order yet because I think the best turn to use it is probably on turn 6 or 7. So I'm kind of saving this for when we get another attack in. But and then I think we're going all in on Doctor Strange this turn. And now what we could actually do is you could substitute out Valkyrie. So Doctor Strange is oh gosh, what is that? He gets +4, he's a 13/12. He's a 13/12 plus 4 is 17/12 if we did her ability too. Yeah. So that's almost enough to take out some 7-drop characters on turn 5, which isn't too bad. So, and I'm trying to think if I would activate his effect or if I would substitute out this turn. You know what? I'm gonna hold it for the maybe if we get to turn 7 and get the 7-drop Hulk, I might wait for that. So yeah, maybe you can activate Nova to stun a character that you're maybe not gonna attack this turn. So yeah, so then obviously Doctor Strange. The only bad thing about also with this deck is when you have a single character that is attacking, depending on what characters your opponent has on the field, it is really like what's the best way to say it? Like they can have a support row character and a front row character. So if you attack, like let's say the front row character, they can support and give reinforcement. That's the kind of the disadvantage with this deck is when you have a single attacker is that your opponent can have ways to reinforce the character. So you're not really utilizing the amount of damage you can be dealing, if that makes sense. So let's attack with Doctor Strange, maybe stun something there. And even if they go to try to attack our characters, we do have that, where is it? Oh, Defenders Defend, that we can potentially maybe save a character. But let's just say they don't do anything else. So let's go ahead and ready our characters. And go to turn 6. All right. So they take their turn 6. They do all their things. And then we go ahead and play a resource. See, this would be a really good time if we drew Astral Projection because we can move all these characters to the hidden area. But I am going to go ahead and recruit Submariner. And then I am going to activate here. And now there is a argument to substitute out Red Guardian for Drawn Walker this turn so we don't take on much damage, but it also depends on how much damage that we're going to be taking. And actually, what we also could do, I just saw this now, but actually, yeah, let's do the effects here. So let's say we do this on one of their characters. I would give maybe the +2/+2 to Doctor Strange because you already get a +1/+1 for each character that's exhausted. Or the other thing you could do, and this is what I was thinking about a few moments ago. So you could also substitute out Doctor Strange for this Valkyrie, this Brunnhilde Valkyrie, if you wanted to, because then all of your other characters you control that are exhausted have reinforcement. So that may not be a bad play. So I guess we'll say this is the remove from game zone. And we'll play Brunnhilde. And then Red Guardian would probably give the attack to... okay, let's just say her. So, and then Hellcat will give it to her as well. So then maybe you can have your formation something like this, potentially. Now, the only thing that's kind of weird is she won't get invulnerability because obviously Submariner is. But if your opponent attacks Submariner first, then you might be able to get it. So anyway, let's just say for an example that I'm just going to say they stun her and him. And let's say we lose Red Guardian now, because this is probably the turn where we start losing characters. So I'll just kind of play out that scenario. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw some cards. 1 and 2. Okay. So the combo that I was talking about in the deck profile portion, we kind of have it. So now we're going to go ahead and flip up the B team. We're going to discard, I guess, this Red Guardian. And let's go get Mr. Hulk. We'll put him into our hand. And, okay, so I think this is the turn where we're going to want to substitute out Nova for this Valkyrie, Samantha Parrington. And then we're also going to substitute out him for good old Wendell. And so now we're going to play Hulk. So with his ability on the chain, we're going to activate this to give him +4/+4 while attack, plus another +2/+2. And then Valkyrie will give this ability to Hulk, so when he attacks, he'll get the ready. So then his effect will resolve, exhausting her. This Brunnhilde. And then we have, I don't know what the formation would be. Maybe we want to put the bigger characters here. Put the bigger characters, I mean the higher cost characters in the front row. So, okay, so here's the cool thing now. So let's go ahead, and it's our turn, right? So we'll go ahead and attack with Hulk. Since we activated her effect, Hulk will actually ready. And then, so what's he get? +4/+4, +2/+, so +6/+6. So we use a 23/23. So we attack a character. They either reinforce or don't reinforce. They take their damage. And then we're going to go ahead and, oops, I guess he would be exhausted. Oh, no, he wouldn't. That's right. So then that was attack 1. So attack 2, we attack with Hulk again. And then now when depending on what damage they take, we can now activate Hulk's effect to ready the Hulk again. And then attack another character for some damage there. And then we have the one-man Rampage. And we could discard a Marvel Defenders card to ready Hulk. And then he can attack another character, which will obviously, we can't cause breakthrough because of this card. So that's about what the strategy you could do with Marvel Defenders, what it does. And I'm not going to go on to turn 8 to maybe see if we get to Doctor Strange, because this deck usually wins by turn 7. That's the kill turn, I guess, is the appropriate terminology to say. So, okay, so yeah, I'm going to end the video right here. And if you guys have any comments about this deck, make sure to leave it in the comment section of this video. Again, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Give me your feedback on everything that I do. This series of videos, the Playground series. If you guys like the decks that I'm doing for it, any feedback is greatly appreciated. Make sure to, you can follow me on social too. I'll put all the links at the, well, you know where to find me. I'll put all my social media as an image on this video. So, yeah. So thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time.